The problem I was given is silver nitrate in solution reacts with potassium iodide in solution to form the precipitate silver iodide. The first part of this problem is to calculate the theoretical yield of silver iodide if 7.82 grams of pure silver nitrate reacts with an excess of potassium iodide. So to start, we must first make a balanced chemical equation. So we can start with silver nitrate, AgNO3 plus potassium iodide reacts to produce silver iodide and potassium nitrate. And we know this chemical equation is balanced because on both sides, they have the same amount of atoms for each type of element. So now we can look back at the question and notice that they gave us a mass for silver nitrate. So we can write down that mass underneath silver nitrate to show that they are related. So the mass of silver nitrate is 7.82 grams. The next step is to find the molar mass of silver nitrate. And this can be calculated by taking the molar mass of silver, which is 107.9 grams per mole, plus the molar mass of nitrogen, which is 14 grams per mole, and then adding that to the molar mass of oxygen times 3, which is 3 times 16 grams per mole. And this gives us a total of 169.9 grams per mole. Now, with these two pieces of information, we can now calculate the number of moles. And this can be calculated with the formula N equals M over MM. Or in other words, number of moles equals mass over molar mass. And all we have to do is just plug in the numbers. So we take 7.82 grams over 169.9 grams per mole. The grams cancel each other out, and we get a total of roughly 0.046027 moles. Now if we look back at the equation, we can see that silver nitrate and silver iodide have a 1-to-1 ratio. This helps us find the number of moles of silver iodide. And since it's a 1-to-1 ratio, we know that the number of moles for silver nitrate is equal to the number of moles of silver iodide. So the number of moles of silver iodide is also equal to 0.046027 moles. And now we have to find this mass of silver iodide to find the theoretical yield of silver iodide. So to find the mass, we need the molar mass of silver iodide. And the molar mass of silver iodide is just the molar mass of silver, which is 107.9 grams per mole, plus the molar mass of iodine, which is 126.9 grams per mole. 126.9 grams per mole. And if you add these two together, you get a molar mass of 234.8 grams per mole. And with these two pieces of information, we can rearrange the formula over here and find the total mass of silver iodide. So mass equals number of moles times molar mass. So we just plug in the numbers again. Mass equals 0.046027 moles multiplied by 234.8 grams per mole. And this gives us the mass of silver iodide, which is 10.80714 grams. So therefore, the theoretical yield of silver iodide is 10.80714 grams. If we took 7.82 grams of pure silver nitrate and reacted it with an excess of potassium iodide. So now the second question is, experimentally, the yield was found to be 9.34 grams of silver iodide. What is the percentage yield? So to find the percentage yield, we will need the experimental yield and the theoretical yield, and those are both given to us. So the percentage yield is calculated by taking the experimental yield and dividing it by the theoretical yield, and then multiplying it all by 100%. So they tell us in the question that the experimental yield is 99.34 grams, and we already calculated the theoretical yield, which is 10.80714 grams. So we can put that at the bottom. 10.80714 grams. The grams cancel each other out. Don't forget to multiply by 100%. And then you get roughly 86.42%. So the percentage yield is 86.42%. And now onto the last part. If the silver nitrate used for this experiment was only 96.2% pure, and 7.82 grams of this reagent was used in the experiment, what would be the percentage yield? Now once again, we are going to need a balanced chemical equation. So we will start with silver nitrate plus potassium iodide reacts to produce silver iodide and potassium nitrate. And they tell us that in the question, the mass of this reagent is 7.82 grams. So the mass of silver nitrate is 7.82 grams. And I'm putting this under silver nitrate once again to show that they are related. And then since we know that the percentage of the silver nitrate is 96.2% pure, we can calculate the total amount of pure silver nitrate. And we can do this by taking the mass, 7.82 grams, and multiplying it by the decimal form of this percentage, which is 0.962. And this gives us the total amount of silver nitrate, the total mass of silver nitrate that is pure. And this number comes to a total of 7.522. Let me just write this on another line. 7.52284 grams. And then once again, we can calculate the molar mass of silver nitrate, but we don't have to calculate it because we've already done that over here, which is 169.9 grams per mole. 169.9 grams per mole. And then we can find the number of moles, which is mass over molar mass. The mass is 7.52284 grams over 169.9 grams per mole. Once again, cancel out the grams, and then this comes to a total of roughly 0.044278 moles. And then since we already know that this is a 1-to-1 ratio and that these two have the exact same number of moles, we can give silver iodide the same number of moles as silver nitrate, 0.044278 moles. And then now, to find the mass of silver iodide, all we have to do is just find the molar mass, which we already know, which is 234.8 grams per mole. And then we can find the mass. We just take the number of moles, 0.044278 moles, and multiply that by the molar mass, 234.8 grams per mole. Cancel out the moles, and then we get a total mass of roughly 10.396474 grams. 474 grams. However, the question is asking for the percentage yield. So we have to find, we have to take the experimental yield and the theoretical yield and divide them and then multiply by 100%. So let's go down to more open space. So the percentage yield equals the theoretical yield, which is, the experimental yield, which is 10.396474 grams. And you may think we do not know the theoretical yield, but we actually do, because the amount of mass for silver nitrate is the exact same as the one from the first part. Therefore, the theoretical yield of this equation is the theoretical yield of the first part. So we do 10.396474 grams divided by 10.80714 grams. And then multiply it all by 100%. Cancel out the grams. And then we get roughly 96.2%, meaning the percentage yield is 96.2%. And looking at this question, we didn't actually have to do any of this work to find the percentage yield, because notice that the percentage yield is the same percentage as the percent pure of silver nitrate. And this is because, assuming that there's no other factors that affect the percentage yield, this is how much of silver nitrate will be turned into, the silver nitrate will be turned into the silver iodide.